Now this is
Thank
live.
you, and away we go. Welcome to Clusterfuck Central here at Creativity Talking, where we are finally live again. Take 3. What's happening, brother? Thanks for
How you
returning.
doing, fellas?
Good, man. I
We
just
don't know. We
wanted
don't
to
know.
thank you on air because of you coming on. Other people were willing to come on, so thank you for giving the credit, the street rock cred that we needed, as far as from a player perspective. So thanks, man.
Who wouldn't want to come on with you guys?
Yeah, we're so professional tonight.
It's so easy to come. It's so easy to get on and such.
Oh man.
Remind me of like buying pot in the old days, you know. Hey, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. 3.5 days later. You know. That's funny, man.
All right. Well, I'm happy to be here anyway.
Well, thank you,
Thank
man.
God.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving's coming up, all that kind of good stuff. I only make the turkey so I can have my grandma's stuffing.
Yeah.
Everyone, I'm sure, has a fridge full of food. So what do you got cooking as far in the music department, man? What's going on?
All right. So my main thing is still Withering Scorn. We are in the midst of writing and recording the second record.
Right on.
Remotely still, because Glenn is in Canada, Sean is in Atlanta, and Henning is in Germany. So the same process we used the first time around, but it's going really well. We got 7 songs completed.
Right on.
We figure maybe a couple more. We're working on a couple more now. It might be enough. We don't want to make it too long, because we don't have the attention span anymore. So we're trying to keep it to 45, 50 minutes tops.
Yeah.
But it's going so well. The writing, it's going so smoothly. We're actually thinking about, we're just going to record a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have leftover for next year, or put a single out, or who the hell knows. While the going's good, we're going to keep going. In other words,
and it seems like a lot of people are doing EPs now, just because they can go in, do 4 or 5 tunes, boom, release it, hit the road.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of EPs, but
but
I mean, while the getting's good, we're very streaky. We'll have a 2 or 3 month streak where we're just bang out songs, and everybody's on the game, and I'm doing my parts, and then a couple months will go by and we haven't done jack shit. So we're kind of streaky. Right now we're on a roll, so we're going to keep writing until we see what happens.
But that's how it goes, man. No one wants to force anything.
And there's no rush for anything really.
Yeah,
we have no deadlines or nothing. We want to have the album out by spring.
Yeah,
this rate will be more than enough time. Because like I said, we got 7 songs in some form of done. A couple more still need vocals. Yeah, and little ear candy and such like that. But the basic songs are done for 7.
Nice.
Right now, Glenn and Sean have been telling me they got this. Song number 8 is it's going to be the epic. The 8-9 minute long song. So that's what those 2 are working on now. So I'm eagerly waiting to hear that, so I can put my parts on that one.
Right.
Awesome.
That's how it generally works. Glenn and Sean put the basic song together and then send it to me to fool around with for a couple of weeks, and then we put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Nice.
And we send it off to Henning to put his vocals on it, and that's how it works. And then Glenn has a real studio at home.
Yeah.
And he mixes it. He can mixes as he goes. So it's always in some form of. So there's some form of progress happening.
Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome, though. That's collaboration at its finest, though. Everyone knows their role.
Yeah.
And it's got to be so much more difficult for you guys, and a lot of bands have done it the last few years, to do it remotely, where you're not in the studio bouncing ideas off each other's heads. Like you said, they'll send you stuff, and then you got to send it back. It's got to present a little bit more of a challenge.
This is our second time around, so we're a little more adept at it. We have a little better communication system.
Yeah.
But the first time was tough. But the first time around, again, we were in no hurry. We were just doing it for fun. We didn't even know at the time that we were making an album. It's just, let's record some songs and see where it goes.
Absolutely.
So that's what we did. And so this time around, we know we're making an album, so we're a little more careful and we're a little more focused.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the second time doing it, so we know the technology a little better, and we have a system of sorts down,
Yeah.
But to Fred's point, I think it hurts the music business in general, because a lot of bands record this way now,
Right.
remotely, and they're not in the same room. I remember when I was in Fates Warning,
Yeah.
back in the old days, we'd be in a room together for 4 or 5 hours a night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you really bounce ideas off each other. Something's
Oh,
not
yeah.
working right away, or how about we had this? But it's a lot tougher when you're doing it with
Right.
emails and
Yeah.
and Skype. So I think music in general kind of suffers like that. The small details get overlooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to be in the same room with each other when you're in 3 different countries. So
Right.
Right.
that's
Right.
what it is.
Yeah. Totally.
So, like, for you, Joe, like, once you get the stuff from the guys, I mean, what works best for you? You like take it in the car with you and just like roll it around and think of your parts that way, or you just
Yeah, a little bit of that. I'll get
Yeah.
it in my head. I'll listen to it, and
Yeah.
sometimes when I get the song from Glenn, we'll go on Skype, and we'll go over the parts like what he's playing. Just
yeah,
because it's a lot of times it's a lower tuning and there's a lot of fast parts going on. It's almost impossible to pick up on the speaker.
right,
So
yeah,
first thing we do is I make sure that I know what notes he's playing before I can
Yeah.
write mine.
right.
Because a lot of times when you're tuned down to C or B flat or something,
It's hard to hear. Yeah,
It's really hard to pick up the notes when it's
Right.
new. But that's
Yeah.
the first thing I do. I want to know what notes he's playing before I can figure out what I'm going to
Yeah.
do. And then I go from there. And then I let the song sink into my my skull for a couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
put it out in the car, put it around, and going to sleep, and just fool around with it. Usually takes about good. Like I said, we're in no hurry, so 2-3 weeks. Then I'll sit down and actually write my parts and record them.
Right.
And send, sometimes
Cool.
it takes 2 or 3 times to send it back and forth if Glenn heard something he didn't like, or let's change this. So,
yeah,
but it's a kind of an arduous process, but it works.
yeah. Right on.
Absolutely. And the one thing you can tell just from the last one, it's hard to record chemistry,
Yeah,
but you did.
is,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
I think the album. I mean, for the way we recorded that first album, I think it came out. It's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
it came out as good as it did.
It's a great record.
It's
yeah.
tight.
I love that album cover, man. That is just so badass.
And we're going to be using the same artist, Kieran.
Right.
We've already talked to him about some ideas. We have a working album title, which I'm not going to tell you what it is yet.
Right.
Just we have a title, so we gave it to Kieran to start thinking of some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We talk. I like to use some of some of the same themes to the cover, but we like a different color scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of bands I notice, and it bugs me, that their album covers look the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't tell they all look the same, too much the same to me.
Yeah.
So I want it to be different, vastly different from the first one,
Oh, absolutely.
but still, maybe keep the crawl or keep the skull, keep one of the guys in there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what band was really good at that? It was Van Halen.
Mhm.
Everyone stark difference. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Just so the different color scheme at least, so we can say,
Right.
Right.
whatever it is, because all guys like us get confused.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Which is
Especially
the
since,
orange one?
especially since you don't really have, at least I don't anymore, LPs. Where you can really tell the difference, and you're looking on
Yeah.
your phone.
Right.
Right.
If you're on Apple Music, or whatever, and you just seeing a little 2x2 picture, it's hard to make.
Right.
It's hard to make it out if the color. is too similar.
It's such a bummer that there's no more liner notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was half the experience, man. You could lose yourself while you're reading it, and
Yep.
everyone.
That's how we
knew-
grew up, man. We'd
Yeah.
buy an album, and
This is
I'd sit there and we'd study the liner notes and until we knew every fact, every lyric. Who took the pictures, and I'd love that shit.
Engineered, produced.
Yeah.
I mean, like
You
geek
get
out
that.
on the.
I mean, you can find it online or whatever, and even when
Yeah,
you get CDs, because I still do buy CDs.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to. I cheat and stream stuff like everybody now. But if
Yeah.
I go see a band, a smaller band, I always make sure to buy their latest CD or a
Right.
T-shirt.
help
but-
them out.
You open up the CD and the goddamn writing is so small, I still can't read it.
If I can magnifying glass
Extra
up.
strength, 20.
break
That
out
with
your
the 200 magnify, I still can't see it.
Right.
Yeah, I was just at a record convention last weekend, and there's like a gazillion albums there, of course, and you realize how cool albums were back then. Like Stones did an album with a working zipper,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Kiss had the Love Gun. They had a little gun included that actually shot bang. All the great things they used to put in albums back then.
Oh yeah. Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen to
yeah,
that
the
the
giant
other day.
rolling paper. Yeah.
For some reason, I called somebody at work a Finkelstein shit kid, and and we went back and listened to the whole thing at work the other day.
Yeah, you like picking fruit, boy? We got a buddy at United Fruit.
But yeah, I still have all my albums. I have 3, 4, 5,000 albums down in my basement.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Damn.
But I haven't bought a record in probably 15 years. I'm just not getting rid of my old ones, you know. So,
You know, it's
I'm
weird.
trying
Like 5 minutes from my house, there's 3 vinyl stores.
wow, yeah.
That's totally cool. You know, all guys our age. You know,
Man, I'm
So-
trying to get back into it. I got
they actually for the first year outsold CDs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard.
Vinyl is
Yeah.
coming back. So, hey.
And that's
Yeah,
one of our major. That's one of our the one thing we were disappointed with our first record is they didn't put it out in vinyl.
Yeah.
We really that was one of the things we really wanted because we know nobody really buys CDs anymore. So at least if we put out vinyl, collector type people at least would be into it, you know.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
plan on showing our big collectors. I used to be, but you know, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
An album collector. So I'm a bud tender. So an album collector came into the dispensary the other day and we're talking. And I didn't know there's a special something with Japanese vinyl.
Huh.
It's denser.
thicker. But it's supposed to sound better. They
Yeah,
say.
so you
right?
have it. Yeah, it's like it's a better, warmer sound.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's amazing, man. It fascinates, you know.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to take the bus down to New Haven. I live in Connecticut. You know, I live about 20 miles outside of New Haven. So
Yeah.
we're 7th, 8th grade, freshman in high school. We take the bus. We'd have to walk a mile to get to the bus. Then we take the bus to New Haven, and there's like 4 or 5 record stores. You get all the imports,
Yeah.
you know, the cutouts, the Kerangs, you know. So every Saturday I'd come back with 10, 15 records, all the English magazines. I mean, it was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for Saturday to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our thing was Friday nights. Everyone, like, basically, you met at the record store at 6:00. So if you could get off early enough, throw food in your mouth, get there, and everyone's in the import sections.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, Joe, check this one out. Who is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But check out the fucking album cover. You
Yeah,
dig
that's,
it?
that's how you bought stuff. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is, you know,
Yeah. And
Lizzie.
then there was one store called Festoons, and it was all cutouts and user.
Oh, right on.
It's like 99. I still have them all. 99. I bought the first Rods album for 99 cents.
Wow.
I didn't even know who the hell the Rods were. I love the Rods now, but now I guess 99 cents in the cutout store. Then you have to go down to the higher class stores down the street to get the new imports and stuff.
Yeah.
He had it all planned out. You know?
Well, you know, it was worse for me because I lived in the fucking middle of nowhere in the woods, you know, the little small town, and it was an hour drive to a place that would actually have a record store.
Yeah.
You know, and before you had a license, I mean, hey, Mom, can we go to fucking, East Bumblefoot? Nah, So a lot of times, man, it was just like looking in freaking Hit Parade or whatever magazines you had, and remember in the classifieds, you'd see you might have to mail away for a catalog from some record company overseas, and then wait for that to get to you 3 weeks later, and
and see where the Kicks ad was, because their ad was in every freaking magazine in the back of it.
Right.
But the Michelangelo Guitar Method.
Yeah. Doug Marks, right?
There's a bunch of them like that. That was pretty.
Yeah.
I used to get the Kerrang magazine back when I was young. That would tell you all the new wave of British heavy metal bands that were coming out.
Let's test everybody's memory. Can you guys remember your very first album you purchased?
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Everybody can, right? What was yours, Vince?
Okay. It was a twofer. So this totally explains my personality. The Great White North by Bob and Doug McKenzie,
Oh man.
and AC/DC Back in Black. That was the first ones that I bought with my own money. My first album that was gifted to me was the best of the Four Seasons because I loved the Four Seasons growing up. So yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, it was Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic.
Oh, great one.
I was in 7th grade, I believe. 7th or 8th grade, yeah.
Great record.
Yep. And then Kiss Rock and Roll Over was soon after that.
Oh, what a good that album cover, man, was the cool Destroyer.
What about you, Jason?
So mine too as well, and it was Blondie, Parallel Lines, and Kiss, Love Gun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Bought it for the boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you drawing the Love Gun album cover again, Vince? Because Ace Frehley looks cool.
Right.
Yeah, there was something about an album, you know. And then if you had older siblings and you put their records on when they weren't home, that was like a
well,
taboo, right?
That's how I got into the music I got into. I have an older brother and sister. Yeah. My older sister, she's the oldest, so she was into some of the more hippier type stuff, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Neil Young, and Steppenwolf. So I was 6, 7 years old, and I had no choice but to listen to those. And then my brother was only about 5 or 6 years older than me, and we shared a room. So he was the metalhead, you know. He was UFO and the Scorpions. They were big, you know. And all the bands. He had the posters. He had the Rush 2112 poster up. So that was my room, whether I, liked it or not. I grew up
right
to him, listening to all this hard rock and heavy metal and southern rock and stuff like that. So between the two of them, I got a good
mixture,
cross section of music. And then if you want to add my parents on top of it, my father was a huge Johnny Cash fan, so I grew up listening to tons of Johnny Cash too, and still listening to Johnny Cash to this day.
Hell yeah!
I had between all of them, I had a good cross section of music, and I absorbed it all.
Oh yeah,
much easier than I absorbed my schoolwork and stuff like that.
My older brother George was into Zappa.
What's up, Captain? Roger? Sorry, Fred. Yes, we're live. What's up, Roger? Everyone say hi to Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Sorry, Fred.
That's okay. I was just saying my brother was into Captain Beefheart and Zappa.
Yeah.
And that was still is the weird shit out there.
Oh, my brother was a huge Zappa fan. I mean, just, oh my God.
Yeah. And my brother and my sister, they both still all have all their old records. And my brother still has his old 8 tracks for some reason. He still has them,
Yeah.
Did anybody own a reel-to-reel? I owned a reel-to-reel.
Brother did.
And I love those. They took forever to set it up, but man, they were so cool just to watch the wheels turning and shit. I love those.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, my dad had one. I didn't get to have one of those. Oh, well, actually I did have one, but never used it. But absolutely. It was, the album. What was everyone's little guilty pleasure album that, like, if you didn't let other people
you don't want your friends to know you liked it?
Yeah.
I got a few of those.
Dude, Olivia Newton-John solo, like
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
What?
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Oh yeah,
I used to love them when I was a youngster.
Yeah,
before Aerosmith and Kiss.
Me and Jason met in school. It was a bunch of rockers and art people. Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids went there, but it was more of a trade thing, And Milton,
yeah.
He
the grand old man of rock and roll.
Yeah, he was the first guy to play Elvis in Florida on the radio.
Yep. And
then he was the last band that he signed on his label is Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Wow.
So that by the way, Joe, was my first concert.
Wow. I see.
Oh, wow.
And on the same day, Jim Neighbors.
Wow.
Jim Neighbors.
Wisconsin State Fair, 1975, 4, something like that.
Yeah.
You saw Jim Neighbors.
Yeah, man, that guy can sing, man. Holy crap.
Yeah. Golly.
Oh, hi, Andy. Andy, now Gomer, you best calm down now.
That's a great show.
Oh, absolutely. They rebooted Matlock.
Yeah.
With Kathy Bates or whatever.
Yeah, I
up
saw
with
that.
Yeah, it's all right, but
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
oh,
There's nothing good on TV anymore. I try so hard to watch these new comedy shows. They're terrible.
Yeah.
they don't know what funny is.
No.
I still watch the Honeymooners and F Troop and all the
F Troop.
Hogan's
I
Heroes.
loved F Troop. Yeah.
Green Acres is mine. I love Green Acres. And Get Smart. Get Smart was brilliant.
Oh yeah. Would you believe I missed them by that much?
The Honeymooners is my favorite though. Nothing
Yeah.
tops the Honeymooners.
Jackie Gleason.
Absolutely. And to hear the backdrop of it, Gleason didn't rehearse.
Yeah.
Like he'd show up hammered.
Yeah. And a lot
And
of
no
those
lines, Jason.
a lot of those lines were ad-libbed, you know?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. It's good. It's so
Hilarious.
good.
And he had a house that he had built that was to resemble a UFO.
Oh.
He
Well,
was
you know the
totally-
story with him when Nixon took him and showed him the aliens, right? You know all that story?
I heard something, but
Yeah, so apparently he and Nixon played golf together or whatever, and they were probably, having drinks or something like that. But anyway, his wife apparently after his death sort of went more into it and said that they were having lunch, and I guess they got talking about the all that shit, and apparently Nixon put him on a plane and flew him to some base. I think maybe it was in Florida somewhere, and evidently showed him proof bodies. And I guess he was changed after that. It was like he was all about it, and I guess he didn't believe it at first,
right.
But I don't know. That's like, I'm paraphrasing. There's probably more details in there that I'm forgetting, but yeah. Evidently he was given a front row seat to some shit,
Well, I mean, the universe is so large. How could we be the only thing? That's just my whatever view. There's got to be something,
Well, the main thing to me is like whether it is or it isn't. I was thinking about Jackie Gleason. I don't think he would be the type of cat to really like flip on something that he thought was bullshit. I mean, if he was like convinced, it's like, maybe,
The Jackie Gleason theory with Jason Clark. Yeah, they just had a little bit more of disclosure happen, I guess, over the past week.
Yeah, I saw a headline of something about that too.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Do they think everyone's just going to lose their shit if they find out it's a for real thing or whatever it is?
Yeah.
To me, it would kind of almost make more sense if it's more like interdimensional, because that would make sense of their travel issue that they're basing on our physics rather than physics from someone who's a billion years advanced than us.
Yeah.
It would just make sense because you're already there, and you just, who knows, but why not? And who knows? There may have been a breakaway civilization when all the meteors hit 13,000, 15,000 years ago. They, all those cities that are underground that house like 20, 50,000 people. Maybe there's people who are smarter, went deeper, and then they stayed away for a while. And it's us jagoffs up here fucking Neanderthaling. And now they're way more advanced, and it's too late to say, yeah, get off my lawn.
Who knows? I don't even really know where I'm at on all that shit, to be honest. But
Whatever,
yeah.
Still interesting. But Sasquatch, that's my favorite. The latest one. All this is entertaining to me. I love conspiracy theories because they're entertaining. You know what I mean? But the Sasquatch interdimensional travel thing, because they go through portals, that's why you can't find one. That is the best.
In February, I'm going to Scotland with my my family, my wife, and some of her sisters. So I'm going to find Loch Ness, and I'll let you know how that works out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're going there. We're going to Loch Ness. I'm going to.
We'll need a live report from you, Joe.
Yeah. Get some scuba gear. Dive deep.
Joey's live at the lock. That would be. Can you imagine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the?
Nessie, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Nessie.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't there be some kind of, remnant of some larger, creature that's smart enough to stay away from all of us?
Yeah. I just read somewhere now they think there's two of them.
Oh.
Oh,
Someone's
I gotta find the son of a bitch. I'll tell you.
You find him. You slap a withering scorn T-shirt on him right away, dude. Think of that publicity right there.
I'm gonna break the story right here on Creativity Talk. This is my first stop.
That's
Right.
awesome. Okay, here's a question for you. What song captured your imagination as a kid prior to you getting an album that you were just like, whoa?
I would have to say, going back to my brother again,
Mm-hmm.
he would always play Creedence Clearwater Revival, "Run Through the Jungle." And
Oh yeah.
You know that beginning part where
Boom,
it
down.
scared the shit out of me. With that "Run Through the Jungle" intro.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the first thing I can think of. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I love
Cosmos
CCR, man.
Factory was an album that was played constantly in the house.
Yeah.
But absolutely. Jason, what was it for you? A song that captured the old imagination?
You want these old brain cells to like have
Okay,
quick
so
retrieval?
when I was 4 or 5 years old, I went to a family party and there was a band playing, and I didn't know they could do that. There was a band playing at a party. I'm 4, you know what I mean? But a rock band. And Taking Care of Business by BTO was playing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, whatever this is, I want to be around this. And you know what I mean?
Oh, I just thought of one too, and this is I mean, you can laugh if you'd like. It was actually an old truck. You remember when trucking songs were big in the 70s?
Yeah, so Convoy.
Yeah, so it was Phantom 309 by Red Sovine.
Oh, dude, that's a great song.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was
Johnny Cash also fascinated me as a kid as well.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash.
John Henry always sparked my imagination. John Henry's Hammer.
Yep.
So good, man. Ugly Country was great.
Oh yeah, I love the old stuff.
You know, back when people drank 16/5 of scotch.
Oh, dude, like
before
fucking
lunch.
Man, fucking Waylon and you know Chris Christopherson, those guys, they were bigger rock stars than the rock stars back then. I mean, the fucking amount of pills and coke and shit those guys were. They were fucking maniacs, man. And this,
that's great.
Yeah.
Good thing there wasn't cell phones back then.
Oh God, I know.
Or in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, Waylon was supposed to be on the fucking plane with Buddy Holly, right? You know, he gave his seat up to the Big Bopper, and I guess he had survivor's guilt or something. Man, he was like, he was living hard for a lot of years, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you imagine though? I mean,
yeah.
I remember when Stevie Ray, you know, had his
the helicopter deal, yeah.
And you know, it was we had just started. We're like a few months into school, and they gave all the musicians the day off.
Oh wow!
Because everyone was just crushed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what he'd be playing today?
Yeah.
Like where he would have gone with that? Like,
right. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to
All
see
right,
it
so,
in
really?
a small club in New Haven. Yeah, like
oh wow,
400 seat club. My sister took me. I was really young, obviously.
Oh my God!
Right in front of them. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
All right, so there's a question for you guys. What death or passing of a musician hit you the hardest? Which musician, when he passed, really hit you, really struck you? Like, wow.
Well, that's an easy one for me. It's if he is right there. Phil Lynott.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember getting that phone call from Vic, who was the guitar player for one of the guitar players in Fates Warning at the time. We both were huge Nosy fans.
Yeah.
This is before cell phones and all that. So it was a Sunday morning, and it was Vic. But you're not going to believe what I just heard. You know, and he told me about Phil. So, holy shit. Yeah, that was the one that hit me the hardest. Still,
Yeah,
he's my favorite. Still is.
yeah. Well, you can't beat it.
Fred?
Yeah. Well, probably at first was John Lennon, just because I love John Lennon so much, and Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah,
Because I am humongous Van Halen fan. So I'd say Lennon and Van Halen for me, those two guys.
totally. Yeah, Eddie Van Halen, of course, and that's I started with my brother and I were huge Van Halen fans, and Van Halen's like the company or the family band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Eddie really hit me hard, but the one that really surprised me, never owned an album of his, but I was fucked up for like 2 weeks over it. Tom Petty. Just because his band was one of the best rock and roll performing bands. I mean, the Heartbreakers, just amazing talent.
Yeah.
And he's been around, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? I never really turned Tom Petty off when he was on the radio or whatever. Like it was just, one of those bands you had dealt with,
Yeah.
That one surprised me,
Yeah.
I read his biography. It was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And there's a great documentary
Yeah.
that came out that his daughter did. That's really good.
David Bowie really bummed me out too when Bowie died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a double whack because it was Bowie and Lemmy within wasn't that in like the same week or something?
I think so. Yeah. I remember I was trucking. I was on the road and I was coming out of Canada into International Falls, Wisconsin, and it was like 45 below zero up there. And I remember coming back in the States and they were talking about Bowie passing, and I was just like,
yeah, David Bowie's not supposed to die.
Right.
He's an alien. He's not supposed to die.
Another one for me was Dio, man. I'm still bummed that Dio's gone.
Yeah. I should have thrown in there too. Yeah.
There's so many. They're all the guys you grew up with are 70, 80 years old.
And Joe, you mentioned Phil Lynott. Every time somebody says to me, name some underrated bands, Thin Lizzy is at the top of my list.
Yeah. Well, they are my favorite bands. I always have been. And Rory Gallagher's my favorite. My two favorite guitar players are Irish too. Rory Gallagher and Gary Moore. And Gary Moore dying really bummed me out too.
Oh man, what an interesting story he had.
Yeah. With
that whole assault and then fucking up his face and da. Man, but what a player.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I have four favorite guitar players and they rotate. I can't name one top. It's always Gary Moore, Rory Gallagher, Michael Schenker, and Uli Roth.
Oh, yeah.
Those changes sometimes, but those are
nice. Schenker's got a new album coming out, and it's all like UFO stuff. Like Axl sings the song.
Yeah.
A bunch of didn't really
care
for the excellent.
It's stupid anyway.
I'm
not going to make those songs better. I don't know.
Right.
I love Michael Schenker, but he hasn't made a good album since the one with Graham Bonnet on it, as far as I'm concerned. That was his last great album, Assault Attack.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I don't know. Nothing he's done since then has really grabbed me.
Yeah.
He tried.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with the Schenker brothers. Is it?
They don't get along.
Is it being German? Is it? Is it a cultural thing? Is it mental health issues, addiction, or money? They always just. Why don't you just It didn't never make sense, and they never got back again and played together.
I think Michael's a little crazy. I think he's a little kooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason, I heard that they don't get along. Is that a fact?
Yeah,
that's too bad.
Unless they reconcile, but I know they were at odds.
Yeah, I just read something just last week about from quotes from Michael, saying how he'll never talk to his brother again, and he's user and he's a thief. He really went off on him. He gets specific into what it is, but
I think it was something to do with the Scorpions, maybe royalties and some shit like that. But,
hey man, no one should really be signing a record contract if they're not 18. I was watching a content from an English performer, and she was talking about this artist got signed at 13 and now it's 14 years later still living in a studio apartment because she was in Hawk that much with music videos, tours, recording sessions, special guests, the holy cow, you know. And it's like at 13, like, does she have the shittiest attorney out there?
Maybe
Because
she didn't have one. Maybe that was part of
well,
the
no, I
problem,
mean,
too.
even after 18, at that point, you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm 18 now. Let's figure, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just feels so, you know, because a lot of people just took the first thing and signed it, and that necessarily is not the, you know. And now, is it better to even be on a label if you're not massive like Metallica? Is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The record business just sucks nowadays. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they nobody buys records. That's the worst thing. But like, you know, and we struggled to find a record company for the Withering Scorn record. And
Yeah.
we barely, you know, they gave us a small advance, you know.
Yeah.
But nothing to even, you know, nothing to write home about. That's for sure. Just enough to cover expenses we had and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then, you know, they put the album out, which is, I guess we can do it ourselves, put it on. A lot of bands do it. A lot of bands do it themselves, but we don't have the wherewithal. We're not that smart.
Yeah.
We need somebody to put it, at least put it
Oh,
out.
I totally, yeah, totally. Okay. Now it's yours.
Like I would guess, like the distribution part of it's really,
Yeah.
really all you need now. I mean, for the most part, right? Because
Well, what the hell is to distribute? There's hardly any records.
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it all works. I play the bass and let that.
That's right. Yeah. So Joe, speaking of this, and I didn't, you know, because I'm a gear geek, and I don't think last time we had you on it, we got to talk about it. So just for my own curiosity, what kind of rig? What's your favorite rig? Like, what are you running now these days? Like, you know, for the record.
Right now, I don't even have a rig. I have my guitars. I got 3 Fenders guitar. I got a Precision. I got a Jazz, and my favorite bass is a Fender Aerodyne, which is basically a cross between a Jazz and a Precision.
Yeah, Japanese. They were fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great bass, my Aerodyne.
Yeah.
But as far as like a playing rig, since I don't really play out that much, you know, we don't tour a lot. I mean, so I just have a really basic setup. Normally these days, if we do, like I did a few shows with a band called Lee's Lord, another band from Connecticut. I was filling in with them this past year. We did a show in Germany, did a festival in Wisconsin a few months back, and did a few shows.
Oh, right.
But all those were like festivals, one-offs, where they have a backline for you.
Okay, yeah.
I just got to bring my basses and my pedals, which are very minimal, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a rig right now, you know.
Yeah, gotcha.
But the best rig, I mean, if I you know, when you request what you want to play, I just always give me an Ampeg, you know.
Yeah, an SVT.
There's nothing sounds better than an old 8 by 10 Ampeg with an old Ampeg head. Can't go wrong.
And somebody else carrying it, right?
Yeah, the backbreaker.
Yeah. I was never much of a gearhead myself, you know. A lot of guys have all these effects, and that was never me.
Yeah.
You know, I was picky about my basses, but just where do I plug it in? You know.
Right.
Yeah, that used to drive me crazy, man. There was this one friend of my guitar player I was jamming with, and it was like it's an hour and a half later. He finally done fucking around. I'm like, dude, I was ready an hour and a half ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm gonna go catch a movie now because that's I either trust your playing or don't.
Yeah, I was never into all the gear stuff. I mean, that's most bass players really aren't all that much. They're usually just guitar players or have all the whole rack full of shit. I don't know. Really, when I say where do I plug in, that's really how I was. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I'm still in the honeymoon phase with that 73P bass I just scored.
Yeah.
That thing's fucking unreal.
Yeah. But I'm totally a Fender guy as far as my guitars these days.
Yeah.
I love this Aerodyne. It's light. It's they got a thin neck because I got little tiny fingers, and it's really easy for me to play. It sounds great in studio and live.
Nice.
Just a great bass. My favorite best bass I ever had.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jason, how's the bass build going that you're doing over there?
It's sitting out there, waiting for me to get motivated and have time to, Yeah, it's some more sanding, and I got to build the neck. It takes me forever to get shit done. You know me, man.
Oh, no worries. I was watching this video the other day, and it was I don't know why I was watching it, but it was about fretting and like how this one brand they taper the frets at the end so it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the
Yeah.
you know. I'm like a dumbass. I'm watching that thing for like
Like drilling.
15 minutes. Oh, you know.
Yeah.
But it's amazing some of the art, you know, the craftsmanship that some of these builders have is just amazing, you know.
Yep.
But absolutely.
Yeah, so I did have a good time playing with those Lees Lord guys. I'm not sure if you're familiar with much of they're an old 80s Connecticut band. Came up at about the same time as Fates Warning did.
Oh,
Yeah.
They've been around for they had albums out on Metal Blade and so forth. And their bass player had just passed away about a year and a half ago, Matt. It was I knew the guy well too. I knew the guys for years. So they asked me to fill in. They had a couple shows they had booked previously. So I said, yeah, what the hell? Because the Withering Scorn we haven't done anything live with them yet. So I love playing live. My favorite part of the whole business. I love playing live. You know?
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, what the hell? You know. So I learned 2 albums worth of songs to do 3 shows with them guys, and it was really, a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's good for the brain, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of
good
fun.
for
Really
the
guys.
awesome.
Like I said, we're going to do a couple more shows next year. We're doing a Hell's Heroes in Texas.
Oh, right on.
And we're doing some other festival that same week in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
I forget what it's called. And we might do a few other shows, but that's all they do. It's really only a part-time, band for them either. They do 3-4 shows a year and festivals and stuff. So
you know what? You get to a certain point, at least at my age, I always, not that I have even had the option, but if I did, that's how I'd want it. Just, the whole idea of just like fucking touring your ass off at this point, I would not want to do that. But just like doing a handful of shows here and there when you feel like it.
It works out great because I still work a regular job and stuff. I can't just go away for 3 months at a time.
Right. Yeah.
So, just to fly out somewhere for a weekend. We did the Keep It True Festival in Germany.
Yeah.
Which I had done with Fates Warning previously. And that was really cool. We headlined it and they did it as a tribute to Matt, the bass player.
Right.
So that was really cool.
Keep It True Festival.
Yeah. In
Did
Germany.
Wings of Steel play that, Fred?
Maybe.
Where was that at?
In Germany.
They did, but how many people were at that? Was that a huge festival?
It's an indoor thing, so I think it's like 5,000 people.
I think
You know what? They might have did that one.
Yeah, they're fantastic,
Yeah.
man. If you haven't heard of Wings of Steel, they're just amazing.
They played the last one.
I
I
believe so.
think they played that. Yeah. We just actually had them on last week. Parker and Leo.
Familiar.
Yeah, I mean, like Queen's
Park-
EP.
Yeah.
That's these guys just right out of the gate, just amazing.
It's
The
a
two.
so I'm not sure. I might have missed them if they were there.
Yeah.
So we headlined one night. Lee's Lord headlined one night, and then
I'd have to double check.
Great.
When I was reviewing albums, the 2 masterpieces that I reviewed last year were Wings of Steel and Withering Scorn. Those were the 2 albums that I said were absolute masterpieces. So
yeah, they played there.
You guys should get together and tour.
Yeah, that would be a great.
We've been pushing them to try to get them on the road.
Yeah, nice young guys, great songwriters, good head on their shoulders.
Yeah, I think we might have even talked about it when I was on with you guys last year. You might have talked about it.
Yeah, we push them a lot.
Yeah. Like
so I know you probably toured a shitload with Fates, Warning, and so forth.
Yeah.
Do you miss? I mean, I know you said you can't, but do you miss that hectic ass schedule?
My wife always used to tell me, when you're home, all you did was bitch that you wanted to be on the road. And you went on the road, and 3 weeks to go on, all you did was call me and bitch at you.
You want to be home?
I miss home.
You're probably right. I do miss it. I my age now, that's kind of hectic. Unless you're torn with a lot of money and have all kinds of comforts.
Yeah, and hotels and shit.
In a van. They hop in a van. At my age, do that now. I think I'd rather poke my eye out. But
no doubt.
Totally. Like Fred,
it sounds like fun. It's fun when you're young and got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Like Fred, there was 2 weeks this season that he had 4 shows in a week. I'm like, you're insane. Like I do like 4 shows a year. You know what I mean? Like and that's like a lot, but
Yeah, but
Shit.
going to a concert,
That is a
it's
lot.
just
totally.
that's nothing. That's nothing to go to a concert.
To me, it's
Oh,
a health issue. If I go, my hips my legs and my back,
I don't even think I've been to a show in like 3 years, to be honest with you.
Nice.
So I'm even worse than you, Vince. So.
Hey,
I mean, there'll be shows that'll come around and like I really want to see the band, but I'm like, fuck, go stand in a bunch of fucking strangers. They're gonna piss me off. I'm gonna be like,
I went to a show last night, and I don't even drink. I went to a show last night, and I'm still like I'm recovering today.
yeah.
Would that be your son's show?
Yeah. He had a show last
Josta,
night.
right?
He drums for well, he does a few things, but last night he had a show with Josta, Jamie Josta, the singer for
badass.
Hatebreed. He's in his solo band.
Awesome.
That's got to be so cool seeing your son up there, huh?
Yeah, it was a great show. It was really, really good show. They don't normally play local. They do. In fact, they were just in Chicago a couple of weeks ago for some festival.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it, but they do like one-offs. When Jamie's home from Hatebreed, he gets these guys together and they do a show here, a show there.
Mhm.
So
They
last
were
night-
at Riot Fest, were they? Riot Fest?
No, it was called Chicago. Was it Chicago Fest? I don't know what the hell it was. It was just
I'm
a couple
trying to
weeks.
think what we've had. Yeah, I know
Small.
Riot Fest was a month ago or so.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what it's called. I'd have to ask him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a huge festival. I think it was a few hardcore bands and some doom bands were there too.
Heavy Chicago.
It was in Chicago. Yeah,
No, it's called Heavy Chicago.
that's it. That's the song. That's right there. You got it. Yeah. Yeah, he did that a couple weeks ago with Josta.
Nice.
It was
Awesome.
a weird bill. I was looking at the bill. It's like some doom bands, like old guys from Trouble and
Really?
hardcore bands. It was a mix.
I used to
weird
love-
mixture of bands.
I love Trouble, man. That was a fucking
me
good
too.
band.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
In one of
I
those,
think
one of those
Singer
shows we
died.
did with Lee's Lord, we Exhorder, Exhorder, like a thrash.
Oh
band.
yeah.
Florida, I think they're from. And
Yeah.
the singer, I was talking to the singer for a while, really good dude. And he's actually singing in Trouble now too.
Oh no shit.
Wow,
Yeah, because
yeah.
the other guy passed
He had
away.
a
During
Trouble
COVID.
tattoo. Yeah, one of my favorite bands. In fact, I'm singing with him now. I said, no shit. Yeah.
That's
So that'll
awesome.
be interesting because he's more of a
Yeah.
thrash guy, But
Right. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Justin Erb?
no,
He's
No.
doing something with one of the guys from Trouble, isn't he? A
yeah,
guitar.
there's a bunch of Trouble offshoot things going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, from Lost Psychonaut.
Yeah, I'm not sure. familiar with that.
They've been on the show a bunch of times. He was doing something.
yeah.
Yeah, Trouble. Yeah, Trouble's.
You have Trouble, and then you have, you have a bunch of offshoot things. I don't understand
Right.
how it works, but he's singing with whatever's called Trouble now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what do you think's going to happen with all that once all the greats are gone, Priest and Maiden? You think there's just? It seems like the tribute bands are becoming more of a bigger business.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. But there's.
Yeah.
I try to tell people there's just a lot of good music out there. There's a lot of good new bands out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Shitload.
There is. There
But you
is.
They don't. I mean, I don't know how they they build themselves up like bands in the old days.
Right.
But there's I watch a few things on YouTube and I have like Apple Music and I find shit and there's so many good new bands out there.
Right.
I can't keep up with them all, but unfortunately, most of them,
Never get heard. Yeah.
never get heard of.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm into like I don't know how I got myself into this, but I'm really into like heavy psych, stoner, heavy psych shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's King Buffalo and Elder and band from Chicago called Resin, Rezen.
Oh,
They're from Chicago. Like that's what I'm really into. That kind of music.
have
For
to
some
check
reason.
that out. Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
got
stoner
myself
rock.
into.
Yeah, there's a lot of Lost Psychonaut falls into that category.
Yeah,
by the
sounds
way.
those-
I'm not familiar with them, but it sounds like that.
Yeah, they're kind of like a
Rider,
erosion conformity or
Yeah.
conformity. You know what I mean? Like kind of like that
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Like heavy, sludgy type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's there's so many new bands in that genre coming up.
Oh,
That's
totally.
what I've been listening to a lot of. I listen to a little bit of everything, but that's my new
Yeah.
kick.
Because
Yeah.
we spend hours and hours a week looking for bands to cover on the tunage part,
Yeah.
and at first because we were like, man, rock's dying, and now it's like, holy shit. The
Yeah.
great thing about the internet is anyone can release their music. The bad thing about the internet is anyone can release all their So you just have to sift through
Sort
10.
through it. Yeah.
But once you find a great one,
Yeah.
you can usually cascade at least 4 bands off of that one.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why haven't I ever heard of these?
Yeah, Joe, you run across cool shit, man. Shoot it to me on Messenger.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
I will.
totally,
That's where my interest is right now for those types of bands. That have
And you know what I've noticed, Joe, too, is there are a lot of bands that I'm getting introduced to, like a Withering Scorn, that bring in 4 guys from different bands, put together an album. There's you guys. There's a band called I just told it to Vince the other day called Electric Temple, I think it is, with Andrew Freeman on vocals.
Yeah.
There's a Clean Break. There's a lot of these bands, they come together and they do an album or two, and then they go their separate ways, which is great because they're putting on kick-ass music.
Yeah, there's
but they're not touring. Nobody's touring.
Yeah,
and I understand because of the logistics of touring. Like, I'd love to see you guys on the road, but I totally get it.
But yeah, we're hoping next year, at least do some festival shows.
Yeah.
It didn't really pan out this year. There was nobody beating our doors down to
Right.
to come play. And like I said, we're not going to jump in a van like when we were 20.
Nah.
On a country club.
That.
300 people.
You got to get a gig on one of those Monsters of Rock, so you get a nice cruise out of it, and you play twice, and other time you're just sitting out by the pool.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Those festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're happy. We're having fun. This is why we started doing it, just to write music together.
Absolutely.
We're all friends. So it ended up being better than we thought. We put an album out, and now we're doing another one. So
Nice.
It's really for fun. And would I like to see it sell a little more and do better and get on the road a little bit? Sure.
Right. Yeah.
It is what it is,
Well, speaking of the first album, Prophets of DiBiase, which, as I told you, I gave it a 10 out of 10 masterpiece when I reviewed it. You guys had to realize after you recorded that album that it was phenomenal, right? I mean, you guys had to realize this album turned out every way we wanted it to turn out.
When we're all said and done, we were like, holy shit, this is pretty goddamn good. And we actually think the new stuff is better.
Oh, shit.
We're happier with the stuff we're writing now than the first record.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Because like I said, we have more experience working with each other and
refined.
It's in a similar vein, we're trying to mix it up a little bit as far as tempos and stuff like that. We have some, try to have some slower tempo songs and to mix up with the heavy stuff. Yeah. It's basically the same. It's coming from the same place,
Right. Yeah.
It's coming out really, and we're really, really happy with this stuff we've been writing, So and we talk, it's like, well, it's a shame if nobody ever hears this stuff, And we hope it's
right.
So you can guarantee you'll hear it with us. We'll play the shit out of it for you.
We're happy with it. We're all, the Drover brothers are both perfectionists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to put something out or write something. They won't even send it to me until those two are happy with what
happy with it. Yeah.
I'm not going to put shit out just for the sake of putting something out.
Right.
We have to be happy with it, and we're our own worst critics.
And you said that you guys are, they're working on the epic.
Yeah.
The 8 or 9 minute.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when Dream Theater released their new album, I immediately was on with Jason. I'm like, only they would release a 10 minute and 39 seconds. Like, that is so Dream Theater to do.
Yeah. But that first tune was a fucking it was badass right out of the gate too. I was like, shit, Mike's back,
Well, yeah, man. And basically my point is I'm getting around to, or trying to, is younger players should really pay attention to the guys who've been around and can construct things like this, because when you say, not everyone can write an 8 or 9 minute song. That just says something right there.
Yeah.
Beyond the incredible talents that are playing. But, I would be like, man, I can't remember all the changes in the 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The best 8 or 9 minute songs don't seem like they're 8 or 9 minutes,
That's true.
Totally. Absolutely. And have you noticed any of these Japanese female bass players that are just killing it?
Yeah.
There's a whole group of them just phenomenal.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Well, not even just Japanese, just females in general. Like the girl from The Warning, and she's
Oh
great
yeah,
too,
from Mexico City, Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bandmade. I mean, from Japan. Like, there's all these. Just, I mean, the girls are kicking the young dudes' asses right now, man. As
Look
far
into
as,
that.
Yeah.
showing
Yeah,
that.
That
really cool
Bandmade, check them out, man. Their fan base is like, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's heavy stuff. Heavy.
Yeah, it's
heavy and poppy in some spots, but like once you see them playing, you'll be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, and instrumentally though, man, they're just like,
oh yeah. Look up Bandmade White Room, and it'll
yeah.
give you about 6 and it's all instrumentals without the vocalist. Just amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see people playing the shit out of it. And now I've noticed, and so is Ace, we've talked about it a lot, the bass is being pushed up front now.
Yeah.
Rather than the way that they used to do it. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see that happen because it changes everything,
Yeah.
It's important, and they seem to have forgotten about it for quite a while,
I'll have to check into that.
Absolutely. Hold on. So what else did I have here? All right. So you got seven tunes in the can ish.
Yeah.
Right?
7-ish. So and then a couple more. Like I said, we'll probably have 10 tops, depending on how long they are. We don't want to make a 70-minute album that people are going to turn on like I do. Like I can't. I mean, I love Iron Maiden, one of my favorite bands of all time. But the last couple albums, I tell you the truth, it's hard to get through them from beginning to end. It's not just me either. We don't have the attention span we used to have.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, my knees hurt and I can't sit anymore. It's like a lot of time. Like I started doing this over the past year when I see someone bummed out, or I talk to a buddy that's bummed out. I'm like, here's what you need to do: just go home and listen to an album.
Yeah,
the whole thing. Don't move from unless you're turning the album over. Just do that, and like you'll be amazed at how people don't do that anymore, and it's so weird to me.
It is. They listen to songs, that's it.
There was a progression, and sometimes there was a story within the songs, even if it wasn't a concept album. There was themes, but to just keep popping from that.
Yeah, no, I can't do that shit either. And that's funny because on the first Withering Scorn record, we were very careful about how we tracked it, with the song order and stuff. You got to be careful not to have too many fast songs in a row. And we spent a couple of days figuring out the order. Yeah. And in hindsight, I say, well, most people just listen to 1 or 2 songs at a time anyway. But we're old school, and that's how we wanted to do it. You have a heavy kick-ass song at the beginning. You slow it down. Have the epic last. That's how we used to listen to music back in the day.
You ended that album with Eternal Screams, which is a fucking scary ass song, and is a perfect way to end that album.
I thought so.
That was a perfect way to end that album.
If you listen to albums like the way we used to.
Yeah.
The other thing we were worried that we thought that was the best song on the album too, but how many people got to the end?
Right.
I did. I did.
Well, I mean, like when we were coming up, you had to earn the last song.
Yeah.
Like you knew the last song was 4 songs away.
Yeah.
But you didn't skip ahead. You earned that last.
Yeah.
Right.
It's too bad. Look at us, a bunch of fogies. Damn kids these days.
You don't know shit.
Right. Absolutely. But all righty. Joe, where can people find your stuff?
Well, I guess you'd have to go to frontiers.com, or you can find that on Amazon.
Right now.
I don't know how many record stores it got into or how many physical products they even put out, but until then, hopefully in the spring you'll see a new one coming out. So I don't have a definite title. We have a working idea, but we'll see. And that'd be, like I said, the same artist and in the same vein. We try to mix it up a little bit. But if you like the first one, you'll love the second one.
Nice.
I can
right now.
And like I said, when the time comes, we'll be playing whatever we can here too. So
And we'll make sure we'll set up the technology ahead of time.
Yeah.
My apologies.
I mean, it's probably half my fault too, trying to figure out, and then it's making me download a different. What?
Right.
I don't know.
But
we figured it out eventually.
yeah, also.
So thanks for being so cool about that and being cool in general. Thank you again for giving us the credit that let other people come on the show. They thought it was cool to do after you've done it. So
that's awesome. I'll come out. Anytime you guys want me on, I'll come back and do it. I have fun talking to you guys.
Right on, absolutely, man. Yeah. Joe, you have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to your family.
Yep.
Happy Thanksgiving, Joe.
And
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So everybody go out right now and buy some Withering Scorn.
Yeah.
Definitely hit them up on the socials, hit them up on YouTube. And so remember, go buy local music, go see local music. But most of all,
keep listening.
There you go. See you next time. Great to be talking.